I can't believe they did that to me. They're always ignoring me and then sending me messages late at night as if I don't matter and my time isn't important. It really bugs me.
Why are you letting them make you so angry?
I'm not letting them do anything. They're the ones causing the problem.
Really? Are they here? Are they making you lose your temper and get angry? Do they control you that much?
I never really thought of it that way. Maybe it is more about me than them.
Exactly. They might be annoying, rude, inconsiderate, or
Wrong?
or even wrong. But we still have control over how we choose to react. The reality is, conflict is always going to happen. It might be a disagreement, an argument, or even a lively discussion.
You mean we can't get away from conflict? Well, that sounds pretty depressing.
Well, let's think about it. Do you view conflict as positive or negative?
When the word conflict is mentioned in the news, it's often about war, killing, or destruction. When I think of it in an office environment, it brings to mind people who argue all the time or just can't get along. It can lead to low morale and, of course, affects our productivity. Because of all that, I usually think of it as unhealthy and negative.
All of those things occur and can be destructive and unhealthy, and therefore negative. But could there also be times when conflict is positive?
The arguing in the office? Well, as long as I'm not dragged into the argument, maybe they'll be so busy I can get my work done without interruptions. But I guess that's not what you meant.
No, it's not. Conflict can be defined as a dynamic where two parties appear to have incompatible goals and engage in a struggle to achieve their own means. Using that definition, how could conflict be a positive force in an office environment?
If a team disagrees over the best way to launch a product, the conflicting views could produce a wider range of approaches and more creative solutions. Or if two people have a conflict over an important idea, the resulting solution might be better than their individual thoughts.
So conflict in itself isn't necessarily positive or negative, or unhealthy or healthy.
If a conflict always exists, and it can be positive or negative, then how do I ensure that the conflict is positive?
First, we realize that conflicts are not just events out of our control. What makes the difference is how they are managed. Think of the potential positive and negative results of a fire.
Right. It can destroy a home or a forest, or it can heat a home, cook your food, and clear out the underbrush. What matters is how it is managed.
Exactly. However, the way that we manage conflict is very different depending on the levels or types of conflict. If we think of conflict as a continuum, we can see 4 distinct levels. Intrapersonal conflict is conflict within myself. Interpersonal conflict is one-on-one conflict. Intergroup conflict would be a team conflict. And the final type is conflict between organizations or countries. In this course, we are focusing on interpersonal conflict.
So where do I start if I want to manage conflict positively?
I begin to manage a conflict by managing myself.
What do you mean managing myself? I can take care of myself pretty well.
To manage ourselves means to increase our self-awareness about conflict.
Okay, so conflict is going to happen, and the first step is to manage myself through self-awareness. But how?
Self-awareness will be a focus throughout this course. We begin by considering what initiates or provokes us, our conflict triggers.
Conflict triggers. Do you mean what things really make me mad, things that could initiate a conflict?
Exactly. We need to identify what tends to make us react negatively to someone else. So, what makes you angry? What are you offended by? And also important, what makes you happy and satisfied?
Those could be very long lists.
Of course. But the point is, it is important to take some time to think about your personality and the types of things that seem to make you most upset in the workplace. For example, if a coworker is a few minutes late for a meeting, how upset are you?
Well, that's not a big deal, since I'm always running a bit late.
For me, that would make me angry. I tend to get upset when others are late. So I might be upset at you, but not say anything. You might notice, though, that I seem to be more hostile towards your ideas, but you wouldn't know why. And that could make you more judgmental towards me and start a cycle of interpersonal conflict. All the while, neither of us is aware of why the conflict started.
So, what triggers you might be very different from what triggers me, and that could be the source of our conflict. Like if I was late for a meeting and thought it was no problem, but it really bothered you.
Exactly.
I get upset when coworkers miss deadlines, or if someone's work has any misspellings.
Misspellings? Who cares about spellings? That's what a computer is for.
See, I would be upset at you for that, without you even knowing it.
We each have individual conflict triggers, which can cause us to be angry at others without them understanding why it started.
So I should just make a list of everything that upsets me.
Let's start by limiting the list to office conflicts. A simple way to begin is to write, I get frustrated when, or I get angry when. Include the small annoyances as well as the larger issues.
Okay, I'd say I get frustrated when coworkers miss simple deadlines, and I get upset when coworkers don't listen to others' ideas.
That's a good starting point.
So, simply by writing down a short list of things that can upset me in the workplace, I can start to increase my self-awareness of why I might be angry at someone else.
Exactly. That's the first step on this journey.
So, what are some other things about myself that I should be aware of?
We'll look at those in the next lessons. Specifically, we'll talk about perceptions of conflict and approaches to conflict.